The Groomer Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Welcome to the Groomer Next Door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
And he is your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 68 of the Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host Chris Green. Sitting next to me as always is the lovely and fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
And of course we have our littlest of munchkins who is learning lots and lots about animals and animal health and wellness, sitting here as well. Hi Claire.
Hi.
How's your winter so far going?
Not good.
Because it's snowing? No?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Well, thank you for sitting in with us. Well, we are going to be talking today about the lawsuit regarding Purina Beneful. Obviously, that is the big topic this week. Ironically, and I mean, it's easy for me to say this on air because you didn't hear it, but last week, Sarah and I were talking about it, and I had a bunch of different audio clips from it, and because most of the audio clips came from a year prior, I just elected not to mention it. And it's funny because a couple days after we released the podcast, this lawsuit came out. And I looked at Sarah and I went, wow, I was ahead of the actual game before it came out. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. We were sitting down before we actually recorded our last podcast. And I was telling Sarah, oh, you know what? There's a lot of different claims I'm seeing going out. And it was kind of weird. Sarah's like, well, when was the last one that you saw? And I go, well, the last one was about a year ago. And it's like, well, maybe this situation's dried up. Maybe there isn't a story here. Maybe we just won't mention it because, you know, a lot of things come across our path. And a lot of them have about a year or more of an absence to them. So we're unable to actually give it to you guys because we don't want to give you something that isn't really a story. It's something that happened a couple of years ago or a while back ago, and it's just not worthwhile talking about that. There has to be a statute of limitations that we even apply to, just so that, you know, we keep ourselves as on top of the ball and not recycle stuff for you. So we will go completely into that in a little bit. So we'll start off this week with our weekly roundup, like we do every week. This week has been chaotic, with even added a 6th day, which was rough, with weather and everything else. So tell me what your favorite part of this week has been.
Today.
I like it.
There's days and weeks that go by where you have difficult dogs, and not a single one is easy.
Oh, boy, was that ever last week.
Yeah, that was pretty much what we faced. The last couple weeks that we've had really good dogs. Good dogs that sat still, did what they needed to do. They were professionals at being groomed. And this week we had the people that brought their dogs in every 4 or 5 months. The ones that, the dogs don't need it every 6 weeks, but, mentally they do. They need to learn how to get through this. And yeah, it was a little rough.
A little rough. And of course, as always, we're joined in front of a live studio audience. We have Sydney in here with us. Why don't you tell us, I think we had a little bit of conversation about Sydney, but tell us a little bit about Sydney and kind of give everybody an idea of who she is.
Sydney is our very talkative foster doggie. She was brought to us by Kim from Whisker Stop.
Yep.
And we don't know much about her past history or where she came from, just that her owner is no longer to keep her because the owner, I think, is incarcerated. So we have her. Now, the problem with Sydney is that she is blind, and it's really not a problem. It's just, you got to learn how to deal with it. That's what our podcast last week was about, is learning how to deal with a blind dog.
Well, dog with disabilities.
In general.
Yep.
I'm going to let her out because I think she wants to go and hang out with Roxy and Katana.
I think she wanted Claire, because once Claire left the studio, she kind of was looking for Claire. She comes with us every day to work. She's She sleeps right next to Sarah every night. Of course, she does find herself on my side of the bed. And I think that she's Belle, our Chihuahua, who, when it's nighttime, throughout the night, Belle sleeps against my chest. If I turn to the left, Belle gets up, walks around, or climbs on top of me, goes right back to my chest. Every night, same thing. So the other night, I actually thought it was Belle.
I move a lot in my sleep, so
I
I
do
think she gets
too.
annoyed that I keep moving.
Yeah, she got mad, and I was like, "Why is Belle so heavy this time?" Oh, you're not Belle.
Especially when the first time I said yes to fostering Sydney before I talked to anybody else.
Yeah, she's no bigger than Belle.
I sent him a message saying, "Hey, we're asked to foster a dog. It's cute. It's no bigger than Belle.
Yeah,
She's about twice the size of Belle,
right.
But still, compared to our 70-pounders, she's nothing."
That's true. So for me this week, we were able to have Rocco, who, if you're aware of Rocco was, his partner was our guest on episode 16 from the Rolla PD, Officer Gray. That's his canine partner. Well, we had Rocco come in this week, and Rocco will be our guest this Wednesday on our video podcast on YouTube. We have that one coming up for you. It's an amazing video. Absolutely the best part of everything is was doing that dog. I said it already. I quit grooming. I am no longer going to be a groomer. I'm done. That dog was the pinnacle of the best dog I'll ever have. Just because of what it does, being it's a service dog and an amazing service dog at that. So check out our YouTube channel on Wednesday when that comes out.
So that was a huge highlight. That was a lot of fun, and our our customer base is growing so rapidly that we are starting to do some Saturdays here, and we're gonna have to do something about that.
Yes, and we're still working on. I know last week we said we're working on other options. I don't know if I'm actually going to tell what those options are. Because it's still kind of a far distance, and we don't know when and how it's going to happen. So I don't know if I should actually mention it or not. What do you think?
Maybe not.
I don't know. I've been wondering. I've been pondering that back and forth the whole time.
I'd probably say no. We'll wait till just a couple months before it actually happens.
True. So yeah, there's that. We actually have a reveal at the end of the video podcast. There is a little bit of a reveal that that Sarah actually comes up and tells people about. I won't spoil it. I'm not going to be a spoiler. So you have to watch the video to actually hear that part. And yeah, it's just a lot going on. It's absolutely amazing every day to be us. I'm very fortunate. I get to work with my best friend. I do have a nice life. I'm not going to say. And it was nice spending. I'm not going to deny it. And I got to spend our Valentine's Day, our anniversary and Valentine's Day. I guess we combined them together with you last weekend. That was amazing.
Oh, the hotel! I don't want to leave. I want to go back.
I never want to leave. I just want to live there forever. So yeah, I had something I was going to mention and I forgot. Because I tend to ADD when I'm doing this.
Well, this week was so long.
Yes.
There was so much that happened, and Saturday ended up being a real big blunder. Our weatherman said that our huge, snowstorm wasn't going to hit.
It was an ice storm that was supposed to hit on Sunday.
Snow, ice, sleet. It's supposed to be a winter mix. Storm was supposed to hit late Saturday afternoon. So I'm like, okay, not a problem. So that means probably by 6 it'll get bad. I'll get done with the dogs by 4 or 5, and we get to go home and drink hot chocolate. Well, no, it started snowing before we even left.
It was flurrying when we left for work.
Yeah,
it was snowing when I left work, and you were buried alive.
Yeah, it was horrible. When we left, it was just flurries. I'm like, oh, it's not going to amount to much. It's not going to do anything. It'll stop here soon. It'll hit later. And by 2 o'clock, the roads were icy. There was already wrecks everywhere, and I couldn't see our driveway anymore. It was just snow.
It was reckless.
I mean, it dumped
6 inches.
Well, from what I saw, it was about 3 inches in just a matter of 6 hours.
Oh well, altogether it was about a 6-inch dumping in one day. That's crazy. So yeah, that was what we were
Unless you're in the
facing.
deepest parts of Canada, and they're like, ha!
Well, there are parts of the East Coast that have also been faced with all this, and you know what I noticed?
Colorado.
Yeah,
Colorado gets
but
it hard.
I actually saw that this storm system went. One, I forget what the first one was called, and the other one was the Thor. And I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't they call it, Winter Storm Thor and Loki? I really was having a little bit of an issue there. That would have been kind of cool. This winter advisory brought to you by your friends at Disney, Marvel Disney, coming to a theater near you. Hey, any ideas of advertisement? We can do that. Um, all right, so we're gonna jump right into this week's main topic. Like I said, we were on top of this last week. I didn't know anything was actually gonna come out in a lawsuit this week until it
This
hit.
has been brewing for a year.
It's been brewing for a total of 3 years, actually.
Yeah, I honestly think this has been happening ever since this came through. Since this food was made.
I have a feeling so. The lawsuit lists stomach and related internal bleeding, liver malfunction or failure, vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, weight loss, seizures, bloat, and kidney failure as symptoms consistently reported by dog owners feeding the dogs Beneful, which is owned by the Nestlé Purina Petcare Company. I always think it's weird when ever thinking about Mars and Nestle. It's like
Owning
you
food
make
company,
you
dog
make
food
my
companies.
chocolate. Don't you dare make my dog food too. Scares me now. I don't want to actually have any kind of
Well,
chocolate.
that's what drives me nuts right now is that Purina, we've done a podcast at Purina Farms.
Yeah.
Where they have all the dog shows
Yeah.
there. And I look around and I guarantee you not a single one of those dogs feed Purina. Guarantee you not a single one
Yeah.
who has show dogs feed their dogs Purina. But yet they do have this huge farm area where family and people can go to visit and have a good time.
Great place.
So it frustrates me when they put out such a bad food.
I'm with you. Now you made a great point. Now before we actually really dive into this, I want to actually make this little disclaimer to it. We're not going to sway you one way or another on the opinion to what this is going to be. We're going to give you the facts of what we have, and we're going to provide you with different audio clips, and we're going to let you, the listener, actually decide. Now, we've actually had a couple people mention, oh my gosh, since this has come out, my parents or we feed our dog Purina Beneful. Is it really that bad? Well, we give them the same pretty much speech that we're going to give today on this podcast. And it's given you guys an opportunity to decide, well, if you do give your dog Purina, maybe you might want to think otherwise, or you're satisfied with keeping your dog on that dog food. It's all up to you. So you made a great point. And this came up right the day of the lawsuit, the class action that came out. You made this point, and I think I'm really observant, but you picked up something that I didn't pick up on. And let's just start with the picture on the bag of dog food. What did you tell me? And it just blew my mind.
They on their bags of the Beneful, every bag, not just one type of variety, every single one of their bags.
I think there's 8 different types.
They all have a picture of corn and a picture of wheat. And they have a picture of soy on their bags. They are proud that they have these in their dog food. And as time goes on and people and scientists and nutritionists start looking and analyzing these different types of food groups, they start seeing that it's not good for people. They actually start getting sick.
Right.
Like gluten.
Right.
Gluten, gluten attacks joints.
And gluten is also one of those lists now, as wheat, corn, soy, and gluten has now been added to that list.
And gluten can really screw up a human being.
Yes.
So to give that to a dog, who has very little ability to cope with it, a lot less than what humans do.
Yeah, their digestive system is so minuscule compared to ours.
And their lifespan is so much shorter than ours that this can hit a little harder. So when I did see that bag and I was looking at it, I'm like, they are proud of it. So I'm looking at their ingredients. That's the first thing I do. I want to look at their ingredients right off the bat. The first ingredient in their stuff is ground yellow corn.
Okay.
That means that is majority of the food is ground yellow corn. Corn isn't even good for humans. You know,
Corn? I didn't eat no corn.
I mean, it is considered a vegetable, and you know, at moderation, it could be good for you.
Right.
But you eat corn, you go to the bathroom, it never digests fully.
That's actually the fun of eating corn.
Oh,
I'm just saying. Come on, folks.
I'm done with
You know what I mean?
Done with you. Done with you. And then after the ground yellow corn, which also corn can be one of the number one things that make your dog itch. If your dog itches for no reason, it's got flea and tick control on him. Gets bathed regularly, you know, not too much, not for too far apart, but every 6 weeks gets a bath, and they still constantly itch. This is what happens. They're allergic to the corn.
Right. And
they're
that's
allergic to wheat, and they're allergic to gluten.
And those are all very highly allergenic, thank you, of dogs.
And dogs, yeah. And then the next ingredient. So this is the second most popular ingredient, or the most ingredient in this, is chicken byproduct meal. Okay. It's basically called slaughterhouse waste. It's whatever's left over. It's the feet. It's the feathers ground up.
Right.
Eggshells, beaks. It's all the stuff left over that the slaughterhouse doesn't know what to do with it. So they had this brilliant idea. Let's grind it up and put it in there. So people don't understand what byproduct meal means. They see the word chicken. They don't understand it's their beaks, their shells, their feet. That's what that is. So now we're into the second ingredient, and there is no meat yet. Third ingredient, corn gluten meal.
Oh, now we got two of the leading things of the allergenics that we have put together.
Yeah. Two of them is already the first three. Okay. And then after the gluten meal goes whole wheat flour.
Huh.
So now you're into the fourth item of wheat. Now wheat, corn,
soy, and gluten. So you got all four now.
Well, the soy hasn't popped up just yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But the corn, the byproduct, gluten, and wheat.
Wow.
That's just a couple ingredients.
So if your dog only has one of those allergies, it's guaranteed it's already going to take effect.
And then after that is animal fat preservative. Preservative.
That's
means not even animal. It's not meat yet. It's just their fat.
Rendered.
That is used for mixed with some stuff to make it stick together. After that, rice flour. Not just rice, but rice flour. Ground down rice.
Huh.
Okay? And then, finally, we are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ingredients into it. The 7th ingredient is finally beef.
Now the question of the day is, how much beef? It must just be like almost a teaspoon.
I need to find something else to find out the percentage. But it is that far down. Beef. And right after beef is soy flour.
Wow. So we've now actually been able to dissect that every one of the allergenics are in Beneful.
Yep.
All of them. Now, I know we're always talking about wheat, corn, soy, and that's the one thing that I was just actually notified to, maybe a few weeks ago, that gluten was on that list. And I didn't know that until just recently. Actually, I was talking with, it was, I think, episode 66, when I was talking from Derek from Propylene, and he was talking about gluten, and I was like, whoa, wait, gluten's now on that list? I mean, I know it's bad for humans, but I really wasn't even, I didn't put one and one together that we're putting it in dog food as well. Mm-hmm. So now you have every allergenic possible.
Every allergy that is possible. the problem with these things being in the food, it causes skin yeast infections, causes ear yeast infections, and infections in general, causes dogs to scratch and itch. It causes dogs not to feel the greatest either.
Which causes the mood swings.
It does cause mood swings. It could very well cause mood swings and actually get them to the point where they're actually being more aggressive.
Right.
We talked
about that in previous episodes too.
Make them feel lethargic, make their joints hurt quicker than they should, and then you get into the gastrointestinal, where they get their vomiting, their diarrhea, their dehydration, all of these combined. And another thing too, if you look in their ingredients, I'm never a fan of using any kind of dye in the dog's foods.
Right.
Just to make it pretty for you.
Right.
Okay. They use red number 40. They use yellow number 6, yellow number 5, blue number 2. They're using all these different color just dyes to make the kibble look pretty. I'm sorry, folks, but making kibble look pretty is not good for your dog.
No.
I want to see a brown kibble or a light brown kibble, depending on what kind of meat's in it, when I feed the dog.
I don't want to have Lucky Charms or Tricks kind of colors in my dog food. Not that I'm eating dog food, but I don't want it in my dog's dog food. Now, I want to actually mention this. Now, I've obviously wanted to find some kind of response by the Nestlé Purina Petcare Company. I wanted to know, their side to it. There has been very little from their actual base in their camp. The only thing that they've said, it's their comment, is this suit is baseless. That's it. Now, obviously, it's not baseless when you got thousands upon thousands, and they're coming out as quickly as victims of. Now I drew my joke out completely. Just threw it right out the window. Bill Cosby is what I was going to say. They're coming out as quickly as Bill Cosby's victims. So I'm looking at this whole thing going, Nestlé Purina Petcare Company, they've come out just to say that this lawsuit is baseless. That's it. That's the part that has me upset.
The problem with large, ginormous companies like Purina, they have inspectors and insurance people who go and find out how much it would be to pull all the bags of dog food, replace ingredients, rework their formula so it's safe for dogs, or how much it would be to pay out to those who complain enough and file a lawsuit. If the lawsuit's cheaper than pulling the dog food off the table and redoing their stuff, they're going to pay the lawsuit.
Yeah.
If it's cheaper to go that's what they're going to do. That's how car companies do it too.
True.
It's recalls. Well, is it cheaper to pay out lawsuits from the recall, or have them all come in and redo the recall?
Yeah.
And redo what's wrong. Oh, it's cheaper to pay the lawsuit. Well, I guess we're just going to deal with the lawsuit.
Now, the other one, and I had put it in this week's album art, there was something posted by Purina and said, unsupported and misleading allegations that cause undue concern and confusion for our Beneful customers. Bottom line, consumers can continue to feed Beneful with total confidence. That was the other quote that was actually published this week by Purina. Now, I'm kind of scratching my head. You're saying misleading comments. You're using a lot of jargon that, to the normal person, it is misleading, confusing content that you're putting out there for your customers. Instead of saying, we are giving you X, Y, Z, this is what we're actually telling you. So I'm kind of listening and, reading everything and listening to different reports throughout the week so that I can give you guys a good show this week. And as I'm going through everything, the two comments that were made were exactly what I've given you guys. And the one that's actually being used the most is, this claim is baseless, which, again, I'm referencing the Bill Cosby situation. And if we actually were to say that their claims of the victims in that situation was baseless, it would be a lot more erratic and violent and just it would be horrific to say that about them, but it's okay to say that about dogs because what? Dogs just don't matter. It's baseless. So say that about them.
When I look at
it's not right.
How is this not baseless when your first 5 ingredients are the worst ingredients you can put in dog food?
Yeah, right.
How is this possible? How can you say it's baseless when your food is not healthy? You can add in artificial vitamins that was altered in a petri dish and be called healthy, but there is no actual real vegetables. I looked in the rest of the ingredients. There was no vegetables.
Nope.
They say, I guess that's the reason why there was only corn, wheat, and soy on the bag, because they think those are your vegetables and
your protein and your vegetables. It's part of the nutritional diet according to humans.
Right, and it's not true.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they can say this is baseless when their food says it right there on their ingredients.
Exactly.
It's crap after crap after crap, and then 6 things later, 7 things later, then you got some meat.
Well, let's play a clip and let them actually hear from firsthand accountability.
The people who have gone through this.
Right.
I'm sorry, baseless when they're this upset.
Yeah, right.
I don't see this as baseless.
So here's one of the claims.
Lee Whalen shows me photos of her dachshund.
He loved the water.
Lee Whalen shows me photos of her dachshund, Toby, who passed away last year. It's a loss she can't get over. He was even the ring bearer at her wedding.
He was my first baby.
But Toby died a few months after this happy wedding day, a victim, her vet said, of kidney failure.
He had a seizure, kidneys gave out, and he died in my arms.
Your arms?
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after his death, she says, she started seeing complaints on Facebook from other dog owners concerning Purina's Beneful dog food.
A lot of the things that people were talking about, that was Toby, and with the vets not having any other explanation for his kidney failure at such a young age, then what else am I supposed to think?
Whalen had been feeding Toby Beneful for several years. Now, a class action lawsuit just filed in federal court claims Beneful's dry kibble variety may be harming thousands of dogs across the country. The suit contends it can cause liver failure, vomiting, diarrhea, and other issues. Purina has issued a statement saying, "We believe the lawsuit is without merit. Beneful is a high-quality, nutritious food enjoyed by millions of dogs." Whalen's vet, like others, cannot link Beneful to Toby's death. But as she looks at his ashes, now in an urn on her fireplace, she can't help but wonder.
All right, so that's just one of the 3 audio clips I'm going to play for you throughout this podcast. And the other thing about the clips I'm actually going to play for you, all 3 of them have different breeds. So it gives you an idea that it's not, we're not just one breed specific. It's multiple different breeds, multiple different stories, multiple different symptoms, and the outcome was all the same. And that's where I can't look at this and say baseless. I feel like it's derogatory. It's a frustration. I mean, I've been spending the better half of the week researching this. And so as I'm going along through this, I'm just saying, this is BS. That's what it is. It's BS by you guys for just coming out with the limited. I mean, send your lawyer out there if you don't, if you have somebody in PR who that's their only job is to talk to the press. And they're not even saying anything. That's when I really have a lot of problems with big corporations like this. You're in a very large situation where everybody in the country, and probably even Canada, I know that Purina's up in Canada too. I mean, it's probably all over the place. We're talking about a product that's sold all over the place, and you're coming out and saying nothing. And there's all these different allegations coming out from all different places, all throughout the country, and the only thing that you want to say is baseless. And it just drives me nuts.
Well, I mean, it's not just Beneful that I get upset about or disgusted, really. I mean, True Blue, disgusted, is anything you can buy at the grocery store.
Yeah.
They all can have the same effect. It's just Beneful seems to, whatever they do to the Beneful food, seems to be the number one.
Right.
Anything you get at the grocery store, I mean, even Iams isn't very good for your dog.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned grocery store. I was going to put the clip part of the show, but you know what? I already have 3 and I didn't want to overclip the show. There was a situation in 2011 where Kroger was in a situation very similar to where Beneful's at. There was some different things that led to harm of different dogs, and there was a recall by Kroger, and they were sued, and they said that in the part of the lawsuit stipulated that Kroger was aware that there was a problem with their food, and they ended up recalling too late, and it caused death to different dogs. And of course, this doesn't just lie in dogs. This story actually is dogs and cats, because cats, just like dogs, they'll cross eat off of a different bowl. They don't know the difference between dog food and cat food. So this actually has merit with cats as well. So if you're a cat lover and you have a dog who has Beneful, your cat is also susceptible to this problem as well.
Some cats aren't like, or most cats aren't like that. We just got one of those Riri cats who loves dog food.
I love that about them. They're like, hey, you eat out of my bowl, I'm eating out of your bowl.
Well, and Mama Kitty and Callie stay away from the dog food. But
No, I've seen Callie.
Really?
I've seen them both actually. They're like,
but
nope.
Rambo,
No, yeah,
our fatty,
yeah.
he loves dog food. And he'll eat dog food all day long if you let him.
Well, he likes Belle's dog food specifically.
Oh yeah, because he likes sharing stuff with Belle. Belle's
Yeah,
his buddy.
those two.
Belle's
do
his
share.
BFF. So, they Rambo could use losing some weight.
A little bit. He's an area rug. So the most recent lawsuit in a class action lawsuit concerning Purina Beneful's kibble dry food varieties. Here are the varieties: Purina Beneful Health Weight, Purina Beneful Originals, Purina Beneful Incredibites, Purina Beneful Healthy Growth for Puppies, Purina Beneful Healthy Smile, Purina Beneful Healthy Fiesta. That kind of has me questioning that one right there. Purina Beneful Healthy Radiance, Purina Beneful Playful Life. I think that there's just a pun when you talk about the last one that I'm just going to leave alone.
Right.
So those are the actual ones in question. So if by any chance you're listening to this podcast and you actually feed your dog any of those are part of this class action lawsuit.
And it's not just telling you, hey, stop feeding them and not let you know what other foods to use an alternative. Alternative that we use, since we have foster dogs all the time, and we have our ginormous dogs and such, we go through a 40-pound bag of dog food every 2 weeks. So, since that happens, we can't afford to feed, I want to call it Belvita.
Beneful?
No.
You lost me with the
Pure
B.
Vita.
Pure Vita. Okay, you lost me with the Bell. The Bell Vita had me what?
Pure Vita is one of the highest end dog foods that we sell at Shadowwood.
Right.
And Pure Vita is a single source meat product, and wheat, corn, soy, gluten free. Fantastic stuff, especially for senior dogs. But we decided, since we have so many animals that we have to feed, we'll feed Diamond Naturals. Okay, now Diamond Naturals is it's wheat, corn, soy free.
Right.
It does have rice because, like I said, many a times Katana has to have rice or she's puking everywhere. And if you notice, she has not puked since we switched her to the Diamond Naturals.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I know, right? She would go outside at least once a day, and she would dry heave until it actually came.
Yeah, and it was just yellow bile stuff. And it scared me for a while, like, what's going on here? Because I thought we were the ones that
caused this.
Or we were in the middle of something like these folks were going through.
True.
Like, our dog's dying because we're feeding them bad food. And it wasn't that we're feeding them bad food, we're feeding them IMs from the grocery store. But that was before I started working over at Shadowwood. And I figured out Shadowwood was a huge food store where there's no excuse. We have dog food that competes with Beneful that is actually cheaper than Beneful. And
That's something we're going to talk about in a second. We have some research on prices as well. Right now, I'm going to play another clip for you guys just to kind of keep the consistency so that you guys can hear different stories, lay into, the whole situation of what we're talking about so you kind of get our facts, their stories, and put them together for you. So sit back for another clip.
Emma was a pug with personality who died at a young age, just days before she turned 5.
She was on digested dog food, and the entire digestive system, from her throat through her stomach into her intestines, were all inflamed and infected. She was bleeding internally. This was the Beneful.
That was a year ago, and ever since, Barb S. has been wondering what happened until this week.
Was it genetic? I don't know. Did Beneful have something to do with it? I'm starting to think so.
The lawsuit states Beneful has, quote, resulted in serious illness and death of thousands of dogs. Purina denies the allegations, a spokesperson saying they, quote, believe the lawsuit is baseless.
At this point, there's no evidence that tells us that there's a danger to that food. There you go.
Veterinarian Dr. Michael Thompson says if there was, Beneful would be recalled. However, the brand is not his top recommendation.
I think there's higher quality foods out there, but that doesn't mean that Beneful is toxic. I just think there's better choices.
This is all it is.
Barb says she is making a better choice now by making her very own vet-approved dog food.
It's chicken, boiled eggs, brown rice, green beans, and carrots.
It's peace of mind for her and her 2 new pug puppies, Mia and Max, while she waits for an answer for Emma.
If I have to do my homework to make sure that what I'm feeding my dogs is good, why don't they have to do their homework to make sure that if there is an issue, they change whatever that issue is for the benefit of every animal that they're feeding?
All right, so as you can tell, another different breed, another victim of this alleged lawsuit, and it's just going to continue on. But now you had more to say about varieties.
Well, it's instead of feeding Beneful, we don't want to just leave everybody hanging and say don't feed it. Well, what do we feed?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Diamond Naturals. Like I said, I can attest to that because we've fed Diamond Naturals. It is cheaper and you get more for the bag. Most of the time, it depends on where the retailer prices their food. Keith is so disgusted with what Beneful was doing that he tried to find a food that can compete price-wise. So he might not be making as much as he should be making on those bags of dog food, but he's so concerned with the health of the dogs that he does mark it down lower. But if you're in the Rolla area or in Phelps County area, you come to Shadowwood, we always have Diamond Naturals on hand. We have the beef, the lamb, and the chicken. So you can always switch to something like that. Another thing is stay away from grocery dog foods. Just stay away from them. Try to find another retailer in the area that sells better food. I guarantee you go to that place who sells better dog food and not the Beneful, not the Pedigree, not the Old Roy. They actually sell stuff that you don't hear of. I guarantee you the less expensive dog food that they have there is still better than anything you can get at the grocery store. Our base bottom line dog food is the Diamond Naturals. And Diamond makes another food that has wheat and corn in it, so you got to be careful. You want to make sure it says naturals underneath. A better dog food. And then up from there, you can get stuff like Evo. That's higher up on the list and probably more expensive. But if you only have a dog or two, it's not that bad. But definitely try to look around. Try to find a dog food place. You can go to, go PetSmart or Petco. They have high-end dog food there. Go into their high-end dog food area. I suggest not going to Royal Canin. I don't like their dog food. It's a higher end dog food, but it's still doesn't work as good.
Now they're owned by Mars. They were
Yeah.
just purchased by Mars, just less than a year ago, actually.
Mhm. But we had somebody who was feeding Royal Canin for bulldogs, and they said it's specially formulated for them because it's this food's made in a certain shape for their mouth. I don't know if I go with that boat, but on that boat, I don't know if I agree with it. But it's a niche that they found and it's working for them. But these folks switched from Royal Canin. Yes, they ended up spending a little bit more, not much, because Royal Canin still is expensive, to Pure Vita. And by switching to Pure Vita, their bulldog's ears have opened up. They were swollen shut because of the dog food. They was allergic to something in the dog food that made their ears swell shut. They were able to finally clean the ears out the first time in who knows how long that they were feeding this dog food too. And then the wrinkles in the bulldog's face was clearing up and didn't smell as badly. And the red stains started going away. This was all changing from Royal Canin to the Pure Vita. Now, we also had another story of a black golden doodle that came in. Remember her?
Yes. Yeah, I remember.
So she came in, and I asked her mom, I said, when we were shaving her, or by request, she wanted her short by request. It wasn't me just taking over blades and just saying, I'm going to shave this dog short. No. Make it clear, I know it's winter. They wanted this. Anywho, so I asked, there was something going on in her back end. It was real gunky. It was black. It was just real nasty back there in her feminine area and her under her tail. I had to shave it all down just short. The dog hated that. The one big gust of wind, the dog sat down real quick because I had to take the hair so short. If I didn't, that was just going to linger and infest just this nasty infection. I had to do it. And the mom's like, well, I know what happened. I was like, okay, well, can you please explain to me? Because so I can help other customers from now on. I better understand. If you don't ask, you don't know, right?
Right.
Says, well, we have 3 large dogs, and we switched our dogs from Purina 1 to Beneful. My heart just dropped. I said, let me guess what happened. I said, your dog had massive diarrhea. Yeah. I said, your dog lost a lot of weight. Yeah. How'd you know this? I said, please, whatever you do, switch off of the pedigree, or the Purina Beneful. Please, for the love of goodness, do not feed Beneful. And she goes, well, my husband it was so expensive. I said, look here. These Diamond Naturals. Let me give you a ton of samples. Go home and try it. Let's see how your dog likes it. Smaller kibble, less chances of bloat, better food in general. And if you switch from Beneful to this high-end dog food, your dog will not go through diarrhea. The only time your dog goes through diarrhea switching dog food is when you're going for a better dog food to a worse dog food. That's when your dog starts getting upset stomachs. So she took a bunch of dog food. We just loaded her up with samples to give to all 3 of her dogs. And she took pictures of the information about Beneful, since we had a printout that was emailed to us of the different dangers that might occur. Might. Not 100% every single dog. I said it might. And right now it's a good chance. And so she got all the information she needed to and took it to her husband, because her husband deals with the dog food, to tell him, hey, look, let's try this. You get a 40-pound bag versus a 33-pound bag. And it's also the same price. So technically you're getting anywhere between 5 to 6 pounds of food for free.
Pretty much.
And just change over. And she was just floored. She was scared. And I was scared for the dog, because the dog was sucked in. The dog wasn't keeping the weight on it because the protein wasn't there. You know, you have to feed more just so they get enough protein to sustain life.
And that's the biggest problem. One of the things I have here, it says, what makes dog food unhealthy or dangerous? Pet food recalls are often a result of the presence of toxins within the food, whether it's a toxic ingredient or an ingredient in which toxins can develop. The class action lawsuit references mycostins. I knew I was going to blunder that one. Which are naturally occurring toxic chemical byproducts of fungi that can develop on corn or other great ingredients often included in pet food. So right there, it's like we were talking about corn and we were talking about grain.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that. Right there, it's this fungi can actually fester in there. So that to me, as I'm looking at some of the facts that I have from this, I'm going, here we go again. We're right back to the beginning where we're talking about wheat, corn, soy, and even gluten. You know, all this stuff we're talking about, and it's crazy. And then it's, you know, I have the Purina commitment, and this is kind of like the part that kind of ties everything together to me. Purina, their commitment says satisfaction is guaranteed. If you're not happy, we're not happy. Complete satisfaction, or your money back. At Purina, we are unconditionally devoted to pets. We've dedicated over 80 years to developing the high quality products that satisfy the needs of dogs and cats. 100% complete and balanced nutrition. Yes, dogs can have it all and should. How? A specific blend of wholesome ingredients including grains, real beef, and accents of vitamin-enriched veggies. It gives dogs the complete nutrition they need and taste they love. Beneful Original, made with wholesome rice, real chicken, soy, and accented with veggies and apples. It has the complete nutrition adult dogs need. Beneful Healthy Weight. Yes?
Let's break it down real quick. They say accents.
Yes.
You know, when you have, okay, you're doing a paint job on your house.
Yes.
You have an accent wall.
Yes.
That means that one little bit.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So these veggies that they're talking about, it's just one little bit.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit. It's just accent, just a little bit. They're saying this. And they're expecting people to be amazed on how they're doing it. Soy.
Yeah.
You know, whole grains.
Yeah.
You know, grains is not good for your dog.
Well, and that's the leading part that we're getting to in this. You know, I'm giving you their facts, what they've been saying. I'm just tying it into what all the victims are saying. I'm tying everything in together, and it paints the picture. The Beneful Healthy Weight. With real chicken, wholesome rice, and accents of vitamin-rich veggies, it has a complete nutrition puppies need. The Beneful Healthy Growth for puppies. When your puppy is growing, Beneful has so many delicious ways to help keep him healthy. I should say him or her.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Him healthy and happy. Beneful Healthy Growth for puppies.
And what drives me nuts about that, it's, you know, yes, you want your dog to love the flavor of the food.
Yeah, of course.
But when that's the only thing you can really bring out of this is whether or not the dog loves the flavor. No, the dog's going to eat whatever they need to eat.
I love the flavor of McDonald's. That doesn't mean I can eat it every day.
Exactly. I mean, it drives me nuts. They're putting everything out there. They are confessing.
Yes.
And owning up to every little bit. But saying it with a smile on their face,
yes.
Thinking, hey, you know, no, corn's good for your dog. Yeah. Whole grains are good. An accent, just a little bit of vitamins are good for your dog. You don't need a lot of vitamins.
Yeah, you don't want to do too much. You just want to have what we're telling you is enough.
Yeah, rice is totally cool. We can chalk down the entire plate. Yeah, rice is good. It's brown, you know? It's not the white, it's not the bleach rice. It's good. And they're saying it with a smile on their face, making sure everybody believes them.
Right.
And that's what drives me absolute bonkers.
It's driving me nuts.
Every dog food has their problems throughout the lines, whether it's contaminated meat, you know, the meat from China, The treats have the same effect, because you don't want to feed a good dog food and then taint it with bad treats.
Right.
We had a customer come in. They're buying Taste of the Wild, which is an entry-level grain-free. It was one of the very first, but there has been so much more research done on grain-free foods that kind of makes Taste of the Wild not as good. There could be better. But still much better than feeding anything from the grocery store. So they buy this expensive bag of grain-free dog food, and they bring in Alpo canned food.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, you're taking all that good stuff that you're feeding them and putting the bad stuff on top. Or you're feeding your dog this amazing holistic blend of dog food, and then you're giving them milk bones.
Yeah.
Or you're giving them those breath ones that are chock full of wheat and gluten, just completely crazy. Because I believe gluten is stemmed from grain.
I have no idea where gluten's from. I'm actually going to let you guys listen to the last clip, and we'll continue on.
Taking action for you tonight, we're answering alarming questions about one of the country's most popular dog foods. A Florida law firm suing Purina, claiming their Beneful brand is making dogs sick, some with even fatal consequences. ABC Action News reporter Alex Hobson is live in the newsroom with the latest on this developing story and what you need to know. Alex?
Well, just to emphasize the scope of this, we posted this on our ABC Action News Facebook page, and it's already been shared a whopping 32,000 times. I've also spoken with multiple people right here in the Bay Area who tell me they feel duped by their dog food. I've had that dog for almost 10 years now. I mean, that is a family member. So this past year, when little Ingve, her beloved Minpin's health started to deteriorate, he started seizing up to twice a day. But until last week, she says she never would have expected it was her dog food, Purina Beneful, that was potentially to blame. They said it's the healthiest food to give your dog. Obviously, that's incorrect. After just 1 week of changing her dog's kibble to something else, she says she's noticed a dramatic improvement in Ingve's health. And after seeing our station's online report on abcactionnews.com, Jones became the newest addition to the class action lawsuit, alleging Purina's popular Beneful brand, which includes these 8 types, is hurting and in some cases killing dogs.
He had a seizure, kidneys gave out, and he died in my arms.
All these dogs that are getting sick all across the country, the common denominator is the Beneful food.
James Young of Morgan & Morgan is one of the attorneys filing the suit, claiming the dry dog food contains toxic substances. But in a statement to ABC Action News, a corporate spokesperson called the lawsuit baseless, saying consumers can continue to feed Beneful with total confidence. But Jones isn't buying it. Remove the product and just send it on its way. But right now, all 8 brands remain on store shelves as the company maintains it's a high-quality, nutritious food. But if you feel it may have caused your pet problems, well, lawyers want to hear from you. We've gone ahead and posted on our website. You could see it right here, the link to join the class action lawsuit. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Alex Hobson, ABC Action News.
Alex, thank you. Taking action for you, the SPCA tonight releasing these guidelines to help you choose a healthy dog food. Their first suggestion is check the ingredients. Animal protein like chicken or fish should appear first on the list. Second, there should be no wheat or wheat gluten. Also, look for a phone number. The company should have a website, and any company should welcome your questions. Also, avoid any chemical preservatives. Also, look for the AFCO symbol. The Association of American Feed Control Officials has strict regulations.
All right, so that was the third and final audio clip I'm going to actually give you guys. As I said, 3 different breeds, 3 different stories, sadly the same outcome. And I'm going to, again, give you guys the symptoms just to look out for. What symptoms should be watched for? This lawsuit lists the following symptoms, mostly digestive as possible, connected to feeding a dog Beneful's kibble varieties. The symptoms are vomiting, diarrhea, seizures, weight loss, dehydration, bloat, stomach and related internal bleeding, liver, malfunction or failure, kidney malfunction or failure. So that gives you guys, if you are feeding your dog Beneful and you've seen any of these problems, it actually is something to look out for. You might actually be part of this. Is there anything you want to say on that?
Well, if the kidneys are getting hit and the liver's getting hit, the dog needs to get rid of those toxins somehow, and they end up doing the vomiting, or they start going into seizing. If you've ever seen a dog go into a seizure,
That's scary.
It is a scary, scary moment. The bigger they are, the more scary it can be, because having a 60-pound dog on the floor seizing it's scary. Oh my gosh, a little dog going into seizure, yes, it's scary, but you can pick that dog up and hold it against you to make sure it's not going to flail too much. Big dog, you got to put them on the floor, and you got to hold them to the floor until they're done. And you can't do it too tightly because you can't hurt them. But you got to make sure they're not going to bang their head up against something sharp. And give themselves a concussion.
I knock on anything I can knock on. I've not actually seen one of those, and I hope never to.
Yeah, they're not fun.
I believe it. Just to pretty much tie everything up, what do I do to join the class action lawsuit? If you feel you fit this class action lawsuit against Nestlé Purina, you can call a toll-free number for more information, and that number is 877-687-4265. Again, that's 877-667-4265. I hope that none of our listeners are actually facing these problems, but if you are, and what we've talked about today seems like it might actually fall underneath some different things that you've noticed with your dog, you might be interested to give them a call. Again, not every episode can be light and cheerful, but, there are absolute things that need to be out there. And one thing that has driven me nuts this week, since I think Wednesday when this came out, was there was very little out there about this. I mean, you would catch it on different news channels. I mean, all these audio clips come from different cities. So it wasn't like, oh, it's right there. And I don't really watch the news. I can't stand it. One, it doesn't really relate to where we're at, so it doesn't.
And they
really
never
help.
really give you the full story.
And they never give you the full story. So that's why, we do a pet podcast. We cover pet news. We try to cover the entire gross of it. Whether we painted one side, lighter than the other. I mean, I always err on the side of a victim. Victims need to actually have that side. It doesn't matter what the cause is, what the claim is. You need to always err on the side of the victims. There's a lot of victims in this. You can look on YouTube. This stems back 3 years where different things like this have been going on. So, again, do your research on pet food. It's something we are always talking about. Research your food. Research the products that are going into your pet's food. We do it as humans. We do it for ourselves. Why we're not doing it for our pets is kind of beyond me.
And also, too, if you have a mixed breed, a whole bunch of stuff mixed together, it's a mutt. But you love your mutt so much. They seem to be able to have a stronger stomach versus the purebreds. You got purebred pug, Yorkie, Dachshund. Any of these types of dogs, they have more of a sensitive stomach. So you gotta be careful. Like with Katana, I gotta be careful with her food. When it comes to, actually, all of our dogs except for Blindy over here, we have to be careful with their food because, they are purebreds and their stomachs aren't as strong as, say, a mixed breed that can handle everything all at once, because that's everything all at once mixed in. I can't explain it. Just that if your mixed breed's doing fine on the food, that's one thing. I still urge you to get off this food and go to something else.
Yeah.
Something better that, honestly, if you look hard enough, you can find that's going to be just the same price.
Yeah.
And you can probably get more in the bag.
Yeah. I mean, we have, if you just go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to any one of the stores that sell dog food, you can simply look at the bag, the little tag that says the price of the dog food. Look at Beneful and look at a higher end. And you're not going to spend much more, if not the same price. I mean, I noticed with Beneful, it's the same price as a good bag of dog food. They're actually more expensive for Beneful than what we're paying for our dog food.
Yeah.
And that scares me, because we're actually feeding our dog quality, good stuff that we know what's in our dog food, and we're spending less than what they're charging for theirs. So this may be one of those moments that you're paying for a product name, and that's it. So that actually has me more scared than anything else. It's like, I'm buying this and I'm paying more, and I'm getting, oh wow, I'm getting even less, and it's a cycle that it's going through. All right. Well, I think this concludes this week's episode. Do you have anything you want to close with?
No, that's it. I was going to try to find the Diamond Natural ingredients list, but it's going to take me too long.
All right. Come and join us this Wednesday on YouTube. We have our episode 4 this week of our podcast, our video podcast that we will have out there. Our guest will be Rocco, canine police officer. He will be on our show, and it's a great episode. It was a lot of fun having him. I think that's it for this week. I am Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Thank you, Pat.
Goodbye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.